What's it like over there, Adrian?
Listen, it's a wonderful city for a start. I was listening to Faye earlier and telling you how cool it is. It's much cooler than back in the UK, which is great for me, obviously. But and I think in terms of the football, it should make for a better game. The fact that the temperatures and the humidity is not stifling in any way whatsoever come the evening. But listen, this is a city, one of the biggest cities in Poland. It's got 1/3 of its inhabitants are Ukrainians. That's
Pronounce it again for me, Adrian, please.
It's called Wrocław.
Wrocław.
So people think it's Wrocław, but it's Wrocław.
Yeah.
That's the pronunciation. But there's a heavy Ukrainian influence in this city, and that's why the game has been brought here.
What do you expect, Aid? No problems for England's point of view? Look, the squad itself, I know there's been a couple of people pulling out, but it's still very strong, isn't it? Especially at midfield area. I'm very excited about England going forward. I mean, if you look at Bellingham, Rice, Maddison, Foden, you've got so many good players, haven't you, in that midfield area?
Yeah, you have. Listen, I don't think it'll be problem-free. I mean, this is Ukraine in front of a lot of their own people who've suffered, and they want to put on a show for them. And I don't think they're mugs. England have beaten them comfortably in recent times, 2-0 in the reverse qualifier in this group, 4-0 in the Euros a couple of years ago, you may remember. So it should be an England victory, but let's not underestimate the opposition, because I don't think Gareth Southgate is that kind of manager anyway. You're right about the midfield. James Maddison's dad made Gaza compilation videos for James, and he's been inspired by those. And you can see in his game he's been inspired by those. And we're all excited by that. So imagine Maddison in the 10 role, for example. Bellingham given license to go up and down and really supporting the attacking play. That's exciting. Your third midfielder, though, must have the ability to operate as a single pivot holding midfielder. And there's not many of those around. And that's why players like Phillips and Henderson are in the squad. Rice is the first choice there. But you've got to have those players who are able to do that. Not all midfielders are. So when people talk about Ward-Prowse should be in as a midfielder, can he operate as a single pivot? Probably not. So I'm excited by the midfield. But in that single pivot role, with Gareth wanting us to be more attacking, to release Maddison, to release Bellingham, he needs a single pivot midfielder, and that's why those players are in.
I think the spotlight, Abe, will be on the centre-halves, won't it? Who's going to be lining up as the partnership there? Will it be Maguire? Will it be Dunk? You know, there's options there. Who do you think he'd go with centre-halves?
It's a great question. And then you know what the weird thing about all these centre-halves is? They're all left-sided. They all play on the left-hand side. Some can play on the right as well. Dunk has done that, did that last season with Colwill, amazingly enough, alongside him in the Brighton defence. Harry Maguire came on and played right on Sunday. I think what we know is Harry Maguire, if he doesn't start, I'll be amazed, because he's got 57 caps. The other four between them have got 8 caps. So Harry Maguire, I think with the experience in a crucial qualifier, this is no friendly, and Ukraine are no mugs. So I think he has to start the game, and I understand why Southgate's doing that. In terms of alongside him, I suspect it might be Lewis Dunk, but I wouldn't have a problem with any of them. The only thing is, Mark Gahey played with Harry Maguire when we went to Malta and won 4-0. Different level of opposition. Wasn't a lot of defending to do. Malta didn't have any efforts at goal, didn't have a shot on target. So it's a different level of opposition. But I've seen Mark Gahey for Crystal Palace this season. I think he's been excellent on the ball and defending as well. So he has got some options there. When it looked like there was a dearth of centre-halves, there's now a dearth of right-sided centre-halves. So John Stones is a definitive fit. And come the Euros, if England qualify, and they should qualify, it's about who plays alongside him. So I think that's going to be a fascinating one, with Maguire not getting much game time at United.
What do you make of Ben White? Because every time I've seen him, he's been very consistent. He's always like a 7 or 8, good defender. Do you think his career's over under Gareth Southgate at England?
That again, I mean, it's a conundrum, isn't it? Because he's playing for one of the best teams in the country. He's performing for one of the best teams in the country. He's versatile, can play centre back or right back, can even play in midfield. So Ray, it's a brilliant question. I think there's not been enough transparency here, and maybe for good reason as well. Ben White came home from the World Cup, and we were all wondering why. We were hoping there was nothing wrong, but we've never really found out why.
No.
And for Gareth Southgate not to call him up and not really talk about it, you suspect, we don't have any information, but you suspect from that that there's something that's happened between the two of them, and maybe Southgate isn't happy with him, or vice versa.
A bit like Raheem Sterling.
Yeah, a little bit like that, maybe. But it's one of those where you're talking about individual human beings, so it's tough to speculate because you don't know what's gone on in their lives, and it could be something that we would all have sympathy with. So I'm not really one to just go hammering in on him saying he's got to play and Southgate's got to pick him and all this sort of stuff, because you don't know what's gone on. But it does seem a strange one when one of the best defenders in the country isn't involved in the England picture. Yeah, it's strange.
Yeah.
talkSPORT Breakfast with Alan Brazil. Thursday and Friday morning, 6 till 10. On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.